And we're live. Hello, I'm Vicky from Yin Yoga. For those of you who don't know me, for those of you who do know me, then hello. Friday evening or UK evening is Yin Yoga time. And today what we're going to be doing is a session on sadness. So being as we have entered the autumn months, then this can be a time for some to feel sadness, grief, anxiety, depression, feelings of unhappiness ultimately. And this can be related to many things, of course. There are many reasons for this, but one reason may be seasonal. So for example, a loss of light, of heat. Of course, the days are shorter, we're staying inside more, it's colder. And so this can bring for some people, hi Kayla, Merhaba Sevinç, hi Andrea. This can bring, of course, a feeling of loss, perhaps in a way. Hi Linda. This can bring a feeling of loss in a way, and that can make you perhaps feel a bit sad or emotional. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to work in an energetic sense on particular areas of the body, namely the upper body. Hi Martin. Which is the upper body, so the neck, the shoulders, the upper back, and these are the areas energetically that we would say in China, they would say if we stimulate these areas that are actually related to the autumn months in traditional Chinese Taoist thinking, then in theory we can try and encourage a smooth, even flow of energy in these areas, which in theory may help us with our emotional state if we're feeling down. So it's worth a try, at least. So the areas we're going to be stimulating, I already mentioned the upper body here, but also we're going to be working the arms. So the fronts of the arms, the backs of the arms going into the hands, the front and the back, and also the wrists. So let's move directly into the postures, the poses. So first I just want you to sit in whatever way is comfortable. For me, kneeling is comfortable, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's your most suitable seated position. So you can cross your legs, you can sit up on something with your legs straight out if you want. You choose, you just get into the best position for you. Hello anybody else, by the way, who's there and I can't see. I was saying hello to the people who are coming up. So we're going to start with a finger stretch. So what I want you to do is put the hands on the floor or maybe on your legs. We'll start on the floor. Turn the hands round. Now we're looking for a finger stretch rather than a wrist stretch to start with. So separate the fingers, put them on the floor or on your legs if you prefer. They can be by the sides, they can be at the front, doesn't matter where they are. Separate the fingers, and what we want to do is we want to feel a stretch on this side of the fingers going into the palm. So you might feel that you need to raise the palms up a bit to feel that stretch. So I've got the fingers more towards the back of my room, but you may find actually that the most suitable stretch that's not too much or too little is something you can stay in for around 2 minutes, is perhaps with the fingers more to the sides or even more to the front. So just play with that, play with the position of the fingers. As I said, perhaps moving the palm up a bit might help. Separating them as far as is possible, and also playing with the position where they are, playing with your body weight as well. If you want more stretch, then you might want to bring the body forward so that you have got more weight on the hands. If you want less, then you can move backwards, perhaps even bringing the hands off the floor or the legs or whatever you've got them on a little bit. So find the best position for you. Place the thumb where is okay. We don't want to feel too much compression in these fingers. We want a bit of compression, of course, but we don't want it to be painful. We never want it to be painful. And now we're going to stay for around 2 minutes. So I just want you to close your eyes. Bring your attention, your awareness to your hands. And just notice, are these hands relaxed? Are the muscles in the hands relaxed? If you feel like you're tensing the muscles, if you feel like you're holding them, then you might want to change the position of the fingers, the position of the hands. In Yin Yoga, what we want to do is come into a pose, adjust the pose so that it suits our bodies, which may mean you look completely different to me, and that is absolutely fine. And then you want to just see if you can release, soften, relax the muscles so that we can get deeper. We can get past the muscles into the deep connective tissue of the body. We do want to be feeling a stretch in the palms and in the fingers. And then actually we do want to be feeling some compression on the other side of the hands, the other side of the fingers. But we want to be able to stay in it for several minutes, which is, for those of you who haven't done Yin before, what we do. And as I said, in this one it's around 2 minutes, which is almost up. But quite often it's between 3 and 5 minutes, just to let you know. So very gently, just move the hands up. And we're just going to have a short rebound, where we just feel what's happened. So don't move the fingers yet, and you may well notice that the hands are a different colour. Mine are red. They might be white. That's normal, that's fine. We've just put quite an intense stretch on them for a couple of minutes. You might even want to look at the hands and see, noticing the colour, how different it is to usual. See how it feels in the fingers. Warm. Does it feel a bit hot? Maybe cool. What other sensations can you feel? And then I want to go directly into a wrist stretch. You can move the fingers a little bit if you wanted to. That's fine, we are going to move them a bit more in a minute. But if you want to move them now, by all means do. And then we're going to go, hello Nadia. We're going to go into a wrist stretch. So the same thing, you can change the seated position if you want to, that's fine. But we're going to stretch the wrists. So the same thing, start with the fingers going to the back of the room. You can stretch the fingers if you want, but what we're going for now is a stretch on the wrists. So again, start with the fingers towards the back of the room, play with the weight. So you might want to put the hands a bit further forward this time, and maybe move your body a bit further forwards to put some weight on it. Perhaps moving the body a bit further backwards so that you might get a bit more stretch in the wrist. So remember, this is fingers rather than wrists this time. So play with the position of them. Where do you want them? And then again, relax into the pose. If it's too much to have the fingers towards the back of the room and you want to move the hands a little bit more to the sides, that's also completely fine. The sensation that we want Stretching the wrists, which you may well feel is also going into the inside, the arms. And again, we're going to stay here now for about 1.5 minutes. Close the eyes. Notice how those wrists feel. It's very possible that it may feel different from left to right. This is often the case. But if you do, as many of us do, spend a lot of time on the computer, spend a lot of time sitting, using a keyboard, then you may well find that your dominant hand has more tension, not surprisingly. Maybe not. So we've got about 30 seconds or so. Keep the body relaxed. And besides stimulating the energy in these areas related to grief, to sadness, to anxiety, to depression, to qualities such as these poses we're doing today are also really good for if you sit a lot in front of a computer, using your phone, perhaps in a car. Raquel, hi. Anybody who comes, please do say hi. I can see you on my screen over here. It's nice to interact. Okay, so let's bring the hands up. And again, just rest them. You can have your palms facing up, you can have your palms facing down. Close your eyes, don't move them yet. Close your eyes. Notice how they feel. Note any sensations that come to mind when you bring your attention to the hands and to the wrists. The automatic reaction is to move. But one thing that we're trying to cultivate in Yin Yoga, which is very similar to mindfulness or meditation, is to not automatically react. It's just to wait, to pause, to feel, to experience, and then respond after consideration appropriately from a deeper place rather than just an automatic reaction, which is what we're going to do now. So we're just going to make very small movements with the fingers. They may very well feel fragile, feel tender. We've been stressing the deep connective tissue of the body. And what will happen when you stress the deep connective tissue of the body, so these finger movements, as you can see, are getting bigger and bigger, making fists and opening up the fingers. I'll keep talking in a sec. Let's just keep doing this movement. Stretch the hands out in front of you and then flex the wrists and extend. So basically, fists going down, fists going up like you're on a Harley. Because we're all on Harleys all the time, aren't we? And then you can also circle the wrists one way and circle them the other way as well. So deep connective tissue, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, covers a number of different things. Joints, the connective tissue, not the muscles, in and around the joints, the ligaments, the tendons, the fascia of the body, this massive spider web of tissue that connects, binds, supports organs, muscles, everything within the body. This is what we're stressing as well, very much so in Yin. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So we've done sort of the lower part of the arms. So what we're going to do now is sit, and where's the best place to show you? Here, I think. Sit on the floor, put the feet on the floor, about around hip distance to start with, but I really do want you to change this depending on what suits you best. So we're going to start with a bit of a wrist stretch on the other side. So then just bend the wrists, place the backs of the hands on the rib cage somewhere. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the outside of the elbows to the inside of the knees. Right, so this may, for some of you, be really quite a strain. So if that's the case, fine. Open the legs as much as you need to. So the feet, as you can see, they can be outside the knees or they can be inside the knees. So our target area here is the backs of the shoulders and the backs of the arms. And what we're doing with the legs is we're actually putting a bit of pressure, a little bit, pushing against the elbows so that it's giving some stretch on the backs of the arms and the backs of the shoulders. Play with the feet, put them where you want. They can be as wide as you want or as close together as you want. Feet can be in, feet can be out. Bit of pressure so the legs are active. The arms are passive because that's our target area. And in Yin, we want our target area to be passive. The hands, we started on the rib cage, but as you perhaps can see, mine have actually come much further forward here. So I've still got the hands, the wrists flexed, but my hands have come much further forwards. That's for me, that's for my body. It may be for you, your hands are still fine on the rib cage. It may be that actually you prefer them to be a bit further back, maybe if you've got really long monkey arms. Yeah, and they can be further up if you want, or they can be further down. As always, play with the possibilities. Find where you're getting the best stretch that you can stay in for around 2.5 minutes and stay. Now, if you're finding, as I am actually today, that this is compressing your, if you're finding it a little bit difficult to breathe, or perhaps your shoulders are hurting in some way, then you might want to do a one-arm version. So if you're fine in the two-arm version, then stay where you are. Otherwise, keep the right leg where it is, put the left foot underneath the right leg, and then same thing, flex the right hand, put the back of the right wrist, put the back of the right hand there, and then bring the elbow on the inside of the knee. Same thing, slight pressure from the leg, it's active, so that you're getting a stretch on the back of the shoulder going into the arm. This is a good option if you're finding it a little bit difficult to breathe, which I was in the other one, because I was pressing my respiratory organs, and that was uncomfortable. So we can do it with one arm. So if you have moved to one arm, we're going to stay here for just under a minute now, and I'll tell you when we can move to the other side. For those of you who are doing the full 2-arm version, which is called penguin, this is called flamingo. And just stay where you are, keep the body relaxed. Notice if you're tensing or clenching any muscles. And if you are, see if you can release them. Relax the body. Never overdo these poses. We want to go to, on average, about 30 to 50% of our full range of motion. We never go to the full range of motion. We go to the point that is our natural stopping point, and we stay. Because we're in it for quite long periods of time. And relax the body, be passive. Okay, so if you're doing flamingo, if you're doing 1 arm, take the knee up, take the right arm down, and we'll go directly to the other side. So left foot on the floor, right foot underneath. Bend the left hand, and then bring the elbow on the inside of the left knee. Move the foot wherever you need to, on the outside, on the inside, as long as you can put a bit of pressure, pushing against that arm so that you can feel it in the shoulders and the upper arm. If you're still not feeling it too much, by the way, see if you maybe round the spine. That may well help to get the stretch. And I will not talk for the next minute. Alright, so then let's move out of this. For all of us, slowly let those arms come out of the legs and just move into whatever seated position is comfortable for you. Just to neutral position without moving yet. The rebound or the resonance, that neutral position where you can feel, notice the areas that you've just stretched. And see what the effects are. And then when you feel any sensations pass, and you can just bring some yang movement. So I mean by that some movement, basically moving the activity. So rolling the shoulders back a few times and then moving them the other way. Perhaps you might want to stretch. Listen to what your body wants right now. Perhaps you might want to stretch up. Perhaps drop to one side. Feel the stretch on the side of the body. And then dropping to the other side as well. And then something that can be nice is bringing the hands together at the back. bringing the hands up. So we're opening the chest, bringing the shoulder blades together. And perhaps you might want to just fold forward a bit. Doesn't matter how far you fold. Perhaps bringing the hands up a little bit more, using the muscles, yang activity, and then bringing the hands down and coming back up to center. The last pose that we're going to do today is Anahatasana, melting heart. I'm going to give you two different options of doing this. The first one is the one that we would usually do, which is starting on hands and knees. The other one is using the wall, so you can choose. Hands and knees, perhaps moving a little bit further back on the mat, keeping the hips in the air. Legs can do whatever you want. Legs can do whatever you want. Legs don't matter. Walking the hands forward, so that we've got a stretch. What we're looking for is an opening in the chest and a stretch on the inside of the arms. Now it's very common here for people to be feeling either in one or both of the arms a pinching in the front of the arms because there's a bone there that can pinch into the tissue. If that's the case, first of all, you can try opening the arms or perhaps opening one arm as wide as you need to. It doesn't matter if it's really wide, as long as you're still feeling that opening in the front. Or if that's still not working, you can try bringing the hands in prayer behind. For me, that actually makes my shoulder even worse, so I'm not going to do that. Even if you take the arms really wide, if you're still feeling a compression in the shoulder, bend that arm. Put your head on the hand and stretch the other arm out. And then again, I'll tell you in around a minute or so to move to the other side. So that's the first option. The other option is using the wall. So we're doing the same thing but against the wall, just for a variation actually. So if you do have a wall and it's close, maybe try this one for a variation on the pose. Hands against the wall. And then move back where you need to. Again, separate the arms if you need to. Keeping the hands on the wall, and we're using our weight, gravity to drop down to feel that stretch. So we've got a bit more of a grip on the wall here. And obviously we're not flexing from the hips, but we've still got that stretch in the front of the body and the arms. So this is another option that you can do as well. So you choose which one works better for you. For those of you who are doing the one-armed Anahatasana, then what you can do is switch, so you rest your head on the opposite hand, stretch the opposite arm out. Stimulating these areas in the arms, in the shoulders, in the upper back. These lines of energy that, according to ancient Chinese Taoist ideas, the philosophy behind traditional Chinese medicine actually, such as acupuncture, these lines of energy in these areas that are related to autumn, if they're not functioning so well, this can lead sometimes, of course, to sadness, to grief, sometimes depression. So what we're doing by stimulating this energy, trying to help it to flow smoothly, evenly, in theory, according to Taoist theory, this may help if you're feeling these emotions at this time of the year. It's worth a try. Or it's just a really good stretch in these areas where we can hold a lot of stress. So if you're in the two-arm Anahatasana, then what I want you to do is just come up and then just move into a seated position again, whatever that is for you, for a rebound pose. Final rebound, noticing how the arms feel, front and back, shoulders, chest. If you're in the one arm, then you can also do the same. If you're on the wall, just stay a little bit longer because you moved into that later. You can just stay there for another 30 seconds or so and I'll tell you when you can move. Everybody, whether you're in the rebound pose or whether you're still in Anahatasana, relax and notice what's going on in those areas we are currently or formerly stimulated. How do they feel? And then for everybody, we're going to move into our final Shavasana. And you can do this lying on the floor, on your back, obviously the traditional way of doing it. But you can also do it on your front. You can bend your knees if you want to, bringing the lower back further into the floor. Or if you like, you can sit for a couple of minutes. So you choose whichever one suits you best, as long as it's neutral and as long as it's relaxed. We're not stressing anything anymore. So you choose and get comfortable. That is key. Close your eyes. And whatever position you're in, just feel that contact with the floor, with the mat, if you're on the mat, or on the blanket, or the carpet, or whatever you're on. Feel the connection. Notice where the body touches the floor, which points of the body touch the floor. And just see perhaps if you can feel or imagine that there is no border between you and the floor. Like you are melting into the ground, that you and the ground are in fact not separate. Just imagine that. So in around 20 seconds, keep your eyes closed. You're going to hear 3 chimes. Just wait until after the 3rd one before moving. And then when the sound completely disappears, slowly make your way back to a seated position. Moving the fingers, moving the toes, stretching, not rushing, gradually making your way up. Perhaps keeping the eyes closed just for now. And then when you're in your seated position, just take a moment to feel. See if you feel any different. Or maybe you feel the same, just noticing that. Then bring your arms out to the sides. Bringing the arms up, palms together. Coming down in front of the area of the heart. Deep breath in, breathe out through the mouth. Thank you once more, or for the first time perhaps, for joining me today. Namaste. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I hope to have you here with me next week, either Yin Yang Yoga on Wednesday, or Yin Yoga on Friday, or both.